Hello everyone. Today we are going to see how to make a basic idli dosa batter. Come, let's get into the video. So here I have soaked 2 cups of idli rice and then 1 cup of urad dal. So I am using 2:1. Normally they use 4:1, but this works well with me. My intention of using less rice is to use more urad dal in our food, but it turns out to be well. So here I have soaked them now 8 hours. Some people say that it is enough if we soak for 5 hours, but as a working woman I have no option that I have to soak it in the morning and grind it at night. So I used to soak it for 8 to 9 hours. It doesn't have any impact. It turns out to be well, but only thing is I have to drain the water which I soaked it and use fresh water while grinding it. So I am going to drain the water. I have tried using the same water, but my batter did not last long for 3 to 4 days. But if I use fresh water, then it lasts for at least for a week. And this is the same batter with the dosa batter. Only difference is when if you want to make dosa, just soak 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds along with the urad dal. Now I am making this for idlis, so I am not using any fenugreek. If we add fenugreek, it gives the extra color and it makes the dosa to be more crispier. So now I am going to take fresh water. Now I have changed the water for both rice and urad dal. Now first I am going to grind the urad dal. Now I am using the blender, not a grinder. You can use the blender as well. Only thing is you will have to stop the blender once in a while to make sure that it doesn't get heat up. So if it gets heated up, the fermentation is sooner and then you will get the batter a bit sour. So now I am going to add in the urad dal. I have added the urad dal in, and now I am going to add around half a cup of water. Normally I used to add at my eye level, but since I need to tell you, I am using I added first a half a cup and now again adding another half a cup. So it's totally 1 cup of water for 1 cup of urad dal. Grind this well. As I told you, in between just stop the blender so that the heat goes down. I will be grinding it for 2 minutes, then stop for a minute. Now after 2 minutes I switch off and the batter is at this consistency. It has little bit of granules. So I am going to continue blending this. After the next 2 minutes, now I have opened the lid and now the batter is grinded well. So it took me exactly 4 minutes to grind with a 1 minute interval in between. So it's totally 5 minutes. Now I'm going to grind this again for a minute. After the last 1 minute, I'm opening the batter and now the batter is very smooth. So totally I have grinded this for 5 minutes with 2 intervals, so that would make to 7 to 8 minutes. So now I'm going to transfer this into a bowl. Always use a bigger bowl so that it gets space to get fermented. This should be the consistency. There are 2 reasons why I am using my hand. Wash your hand properly before you starting to grind the batter. One is it helps in fermentation, and the other one is if you do it with hand, then only you will understand the batter. Well, you can feel the batter rather than in a spoon. So use your hands, wash your hands properly before using it. Now my rice is ready. I'm going to add in the rice, but since it is 2 cups of rice and my blender is small, I'm going to divide it into 2 portions and I'm going to add this. Helps in preventing the more heating of the blender and also it helps in fermentation. So I have added half of the rice and here I have taken 1 cup of cooked rice. Since the weather here is very cold and rainy, I have no choice but to use the rice. But if you are in a place where it is so hot, you can completely skip this step. So I'm going to add in the 1 cup of cooked rice and add in around half a cup of water. I feel it's not enough. Another quarter cup, so it's 3/4 cup of water. Don't add too much at the beginning, then it's difficult for the batter to form. So just add 3/4 cup or according to your consistency. If you are grinding it in a big batch, you will have to add the water enough for the idli batter, not for the dosa batter. So when we are making the dosas, we can add more water and mix it. So now I'm going to grind this again in the same way, 2 minutes and with a 1 minute gap. Once you start blending, then you can see the consistency and you can start keeping on adding water. In between, you can open the lid and mix it around so that it gets blend nicely. Because for urad dal we don't have to do this, it blends nicely, but for the rice you will have to do this every now and then. It has been 3 minutes since I opened the lid once to check out the water and mix around. So after 3 minutes, the batter is smooth, but still, I assume that you can see it through my camera. It still has a little bit of granules, the rice granules. So we still have to, you can feel it just like semolina or a little bit lesser than semolina, a little bit smaller. So at this point, you still have to grind it for another 2 to 3 minutes. So after further 2 minutes of grinding, I'm opening this. After adding 3/4 cup of water, I use this spoon which is 30 milliliters and I added 3 spoons of this to make the batter into a right consistency. So it is around 1 cup of rice for 2 cups of water. So now the batter is ready. It will be, you can feel the tiny granules. You have to take out at that point. You cannot, you should not grind it to a very smooth paste. That's when the idlis will turn out nicer. So now I'm going to transfer this into the same bowl and continue with the rest of the rice. Now I am adding in the second batch of rice batter. For the second batch of rice batter, I added really little bit of water. Since the first batch, I said that it's 1 cup rice and 2 cups water. It's actually 2 cups rice because we added the cooked rice as well. So it's around 2 cups of rice for 2 cups of water. Now I have added in all the batter that we have grinded and here it is. Now I'm going to add in enough salt for this and I'm going to mix it well. I'm adding this much of salt, it's up to you. And mix it nicely with your hand. Again, as I told you, this helps in fermentation. Mix it really well. I have mixed it well. Now, at this point, if you are making it for a bigger batch, and you want to have it for 1 week, what you have to do is you have to leave this to ferment for at least 2 hours and then transfer the batter which you need to keep for longer into a container and transfer it to the refrigerator. And only the batter you are going to use the next day, you leave it to ferment for another 6 hours. So totally, if you want to use the batter the next day, you have to let it to ferment for maximum of 8 hours, not more than that. So this is a tip. If you want to have the idli or dosa batter for a longer time, you will have to leave it for 2 hours and then transfer it immediately to the fridge. And the day before you want to use the batter, you just take it out and leave it to ferment for another 6 hours. So now I have mix the batter well. I'm going to cover it with another bowl like this. I'm not going to use a plate because we need to allow space for it to ferment. So I'm going to close it like this and I'm going to leave it in a dry place to ferment. So tomorrow let's see how this batter has turned out and how our soft idlis have turned out. Now it has been around 8 hours. Let's open it and see. You can see it has fermented well and it has risen up. At this point, mix it slowly, not too much. And you can start making the idlis. You can use this same batter to make the dosa as well. And at this point, immediately take out what is required and leave it inside the fridge if you want to make it during morning and night. So now let's see how to make the idlis. Subsequently, this is my idli plates. So make sure the water doesn't get more than this. If you get it like that, then the idlis will soak in water. So I'm going to first brush this with oil. Some people, they used to add a white cloth as well, but for me this works well. I'm adding normal cooking oil. Once the trays are ready, pour the idli batter. Now the consistency is like this. If you want to make dosa, just add little bit more water and make it into a runny consistency so that you will get perfect dosa. If you have the batter done, then this is a very easy breakfast and dinner recipe, and it's also healthier. Those who doesn't have the idli maker, you can buy it at any Indian store. I have seen non-sticks as well if you want. I have filled up the trays and let's see the steam. It has started boiling. So now I'm going to place this inside. And close it tightly. Leave it to cook at least about 8 to 10 minutes. It has been 10 minutes. Now let's open and see. You can see the idlis have turned out well. You can see the spoon is turned out clear. So now our idlis are ready. Switch off the flame and take it carefully. Separate this immediately. And leave it to cool completely. Then it's easy for you to take out and also the texture will remain nicer. So we are going to leave it for 1 to 2 minutes before we could dish out the idlis. Now this has completely cooled down. Let's take out. See how easily it's coming out. We don't need any special things to take out the idlis. Spongy and tasty idlis are ready. Let's see how it looks like. See how soft it is. It's so soft. So make this idlis at home and enjoy with your family and eat healthy. Now let's see how to make a dosa with the same batter. I have taken 4 spoons from the batter and I'm going to add another 1 spoon to make the batter thinner for dosa. And it is about 1 spoon and a little bit more. If you want the dosa to be very crispy, the batter should be more watery. Adding 1 more spoon. Now you can see the consistency. Let's make the dosas now. I have heated the pan here, and then the heat should be, when you sprinkle water, it should be immediately evaporate. So now I am just lining it with a coating of oil, and I am going to pour the dosa batter. Leaving it for a second and adding some oil. Keep the flame in medium high. Now you can see it's starting to brown. At this point you can choose to flip it over, or you can also flip it like this and finish it, but I want to flip it the next other side just for a second or two. If you put the fenugreek seeds, then you will have a brownish color. That's what we used to put fenugreek if we want to make dosa. So now the crispy tasty dosa is ready. I will make another variety. I will make another video on varieties of dosas. This one I am making as like a uttapam. Don't spread it too much. And make the flame into a medium low. As the batter is thick, it needs time to cook. And after a second, just adding some oil. If your batter ferments well, you will get these holes in your dosa. If you are not getting these holes, it means your batter did not ferment well. In that case, you will have to leave the batter outside for a while again. Flip it over and add some more oil. Little bit, not too much. Uttapam takes time a bit longer than the normal dosa, so leave it to cook. If not, it will not cook from inside. Now the uttapam is also ready. It's so soft, and this one is a bit crispier. Now the soft idlis and the dosa is ready. Make this at home and enjoy with your family and friends. Let me meet you with another interesting recipe. Thank you.